Welcome back to Cephas Unscripted, week 12 of the URC, done and dusted. And we predicted the South African teams to run riot. That's exactly what they did. Welcome to Brett Burns and Brevan Herbst joining us for episode number, 55. Ridiculous boys, South African teams. Brett, take us away.
Yeah, like I said in the start of the week, I said that South African sides are going to dominate. And for the first time in this whole URC, I've got all of them right. So I'm quite chuffed on that one, especially calling the Lions one. But what I'm sad about is I said Henke van Wyk is going to run riot and he's injury-free. And the very next day, I hear that he has a knee injury. So that quite upset me. So if anybody believes in karma and that nonsense, I apologize.
Yeah. Look, it's great to see all South African sides dominating. I mean, I thought the Stormers would come back with a bang. I mean, we'll get into the game when we chat about it more in depth, and they did. Bulls, I thought they would struggle, and they did struggle in that first half. But then second half just absolutely blew it out the water. And then, Lions really shocking me in the way how easy they made it look. And then obviously the Sharks as well. It's good to get a win against a top 8 side. So they'll take that for sure.
To be fair, right, let's give the Sharks their credit. Let's start with the Sharks because obviously they've had an absolutely dreadful season this far. And all of us predicted the Sharks to finally get some bounce back, right? Get some skin in the game and really fight. And I think the first half in that game might have been the worst rugby that I've seen in my entire life. But still, they showed some grit in that second half to really pull through. I know they played at home, but finally to beat the Ulster team that people were saying, listen, there's a new coach, new manager, new coach bounce. They're coming to South Africa to cause some damage and stuff. And in the end, the Sharks just beat them. And was the standout players was the South African players, the players that we said need to pull up their socks. What do we think overall of that Sharks performance, Brevan?
Look, obviously, I still think there was a lot of funny business going on there in a few parts of that game. They weren't like the complete side that we know that they can be. I know Fussy sometimes threw a bit of a wayward pass there. I mean, Lukanyam having to run back 20 meters to get that pass. But look, at the end of the day, what matters is they've grinded out that win, the win that they so desperately needed. And obviously, it's at this point, it's just for pride. I don't think the Sharks could even come close to qualifying. But I think it's good for them. It's a good start for them to bounce back with the win, especially against Ulster. Kitsoff had a good game as well for Ulster.
He was their standout player. Every time it looked like Ulster did something, it was Steven Kitsoff, either over the ball, making some meters, making the tackles. Yeah,
so I think the Sharks can definitely take confidence because Ulster aren't a slouch. I mean, they don't travel great, but still not an easy team to beat.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on the Steven Kitsoff one. I was really impressed with him. He was cleaning guys out. He was strumming well, and I thought that without him, the score would have been wayward in Sharks' favor. So good on him. But also, I agree with the Fussy thing. I think guys like Fussy and Hendricks are still the weakest link in their sides. They obviously replaced Bosch and got a 10 that has a bit more composure and grit and can defend and stuff like that. So they did well getting a 10. They just need to get rid of Hendricks and Fussy, and I think that team will be insane because Am looks like he's getting back to his best form. And a guy like Vincent Koch coming in, that was impressive. That guy, I don't know what he did or what he said, but he just kept that whole pack calm, and they were scrumming like crazy when he came back onto the field.
Yeah.
So him and Oxenchair make a very good combo.
Can I just add as well? First of all, Ethan Hooker, I mean, how good was he on his starting at 12 instead of 13?
That try scored proper gas.
Dude, so much pace, and shout out to that. But also, I think just the Sharks, I think, can take so much from this because I still think they can get better. And I wanted to say something about the 9 situation with Hendricks. I don't think Hendricks is the guy going forward. I'm not sure what the issue with Grant Williams is. I don't know if he has an injury at the moment. I'm not too educated on that situation. But I think the Sharks really need to start trusting Grant Williams as the guy going forward. Because I think he's so much better than Hendrickse, and I think he'll speed the game up. I'm sure his box kicks, I mean, they got to get better than Hendrickse's because Hendrickse's aren't great. So I think Williams is the guy to take the Sharks forward in that position, and they really need to start looking at that.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's like it's not even that Jaden Hendricks is one of those nines that his game just goes under the radar. It's just amateur or whatever. It's like his errors are blatant. Like you can see the errors that he makes. Like I can still excuse a guy that's a bit quiet in the game, maybe not his best performance, but a guy that makes blatant errors game after game after game, that it almost gets to that point where it's inexcusable. But overall, great victory for the Sharks. And as Brevan and Brett said, they could take a lot of momentum going forward from this game. We said that they need like that one victory to kind of give them some confidence going into the rest of their games. Because whilst there is no slouch, they still, after that loss, 7th on the log, there's still big names there. Moving on, let's talk about our boys, Brett. And listen, the scoreline flatters Edinburgh because they scored like 2 tries and they had one opportunity in the first half. We knocked balls over the line. How many times did we come close to a try and just couldn't score the try? This game could have been 40-0 in the first half. And I'm taking it as an absolutely brilliant victory. We smashed them from start to finish. Edinburgh was never in the game. They never had a solution to anything that we threw at them. Hartzenberg, Dan du Plessis, Damian Willemse. Wow. Every time Willemse touched that ball, absolute magic. I think Namakaba had an absolutely scintillating game as well. Just overall, just purely, this was a demolition job.
Yeah, I took a lot of positive out of the game, but also the negatives bothered me a lot in that game. Like, for example, Willemse was amazing, yes, but like that backhand pass that he gave, literally a normal pass would have been perfect, and there would have been another try. Then he tried it to be fancy with this backhand pass of his. Yeah. I know he does it quite well, but it wasn't on. It wasn't necessary. There was no pressure, no need for it to happen. And a guy like Wandisile Similani breaking the line quite a few times, I'm chuffed with that. But then not offloading when there's overlap, an extra player. I think the Stormers scoreline could have been well into the 60s. It's glory boys. I think he's so desperate for a try, Similani, that he forgets that he's playing a team sport, and that's what annoyed me about the game. Also, very happy that Frans Malherbe got a run out, and I think that next game he maybe play 60. But all in all, very happy with the performance. But I do feel like it could have been a 60-point victory there.
Similani almost scored the try though until he knocked it over the line.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I thought the Stormers did exactly what I thought they would do. Listen, no South African side ever takes a beating, or not a beat. No South African side loses, and then next game they kind of just say, okay, I mean, especially the Stormers side, they definitely were going to be angry going into this, and they definitely showed how good they can be at times. Also, shout out to Brock Harris. Am I correct? He played 80 minutes. That is hella impressive.
No, he didn't play 80 minutes.
No,
he played 75 minutes because Lizo Koboka came on, and within 3.5 minutes, he injured his ankle and tried to play for another minute, and then Brock Harris had to come back. So he played 75 minutes.
Dude, shout out to that, dude. A prop playing 75 minutes at that level is fantastic. So shout out to that.
And what, he's like 36, 38, whatever.
Crazy. But with regards to Similani, obviously it didn't work out at the Lions and then at the Bulls for him. But look, I think the Stormers are the right side for him, especially the style of play. It's just about finding that momentum now, finding that rhythm, and just trusting the process. Like Brett says, your try will come, but just play that pass. That will even gain you confidence. Try assists, that happens. Like that's how you start building. So Yeah, shout out to Milani. I'm glad he's found a place where the rugby style kind of suits him better than where he has been. But all in all, Stormers, I think they will finish top four. I think they're going to go on a run now. And I'm hoping that they do because I do want the Stormers and the Bulls to be in the final together again. So I'm going to
Yeah,
say the Stormers did
like
fantastically.
obviously it's not all positives. I think the biggest negative takeaway that I had in this game was the soft tries that we conceded. It's like almost we had so much attacking rugby we forgot how to defend, especially in that first try, just throwing the ball around, everyone falling over each other, the ball just falling to that guy from them on debut. I think it's Henry, and he went on to score. Same with the second try where we literally made a mistake. I think it was a charge down kick. We overthrew the line out, and then they went on and scored. So I just feel like we kind of neglected defense in those two tries. But overall, I was so impressed with the way that we approached this game and really said, listen, we're going to put them to the sword. And listen, Hartzenberg, I know he scored a couple of tries that's just like run-in tries, but overall, his performances has been absolutely insane. He's like we always talk about Leland Zass as our best wing. I think Hartzenberg has been absolutely scintillating. Do we see some sort of a Springbok call up for him at some point, especially knowing he can play at the outside center as well?
I'd like to go first. Sorry, I'd like to go first on this one. Since he started, I felt that this Oak, he's a generational player, like a Willemse, like a Kurt Lawrence, stuff like that. But the problem is the names that are all ahead of him that are already in the Springbok mold. If everyone stays injury free, there's no chance Hartzenberg's getting in. I mean, we have so much talent. I mean, just the Bulls back three alone is pretty much the Springboks back three. So no, and then everybody else ahead of him is also they two sets already. I think if Hartzenberg can keep on keeping on, then maybe if there's an injury or 5 down the line, he could get a call up. But I can't see that happening now, unfortunately.
But he has been absolutely insane. So
he never plays poor.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just literally what Brett said. Like it's just a matter of, unfortunately, there's so much talent ahead of him, and it's a shame because it's one of those generations of Springboks where these players are like generational players as well. So it's tough. But I also wanted to ask you guys something about the situation at hooker for the Stormers. Obviously, Andrew Hufenter started this game. Dweber came off the bench. I personally think that the Dweber train has left my station. I think I'm no longer.
You don't even need to ask us. You know it's already left the station.
I genuinely think, because I was a huge Dweber fan when he first like burst onto the scene from the Cheetahs and whatever, and I thought this guy's going to be, it's him and Marks going forward in the Springboks hooker situation. And obviously he's let us all down in a sense, but I genuinely think Andre Huguvente is awesome for you guys, and I would have him as your starting hooker from now on.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't have an issue with Andre Huguvente starting and then Dweber coming in off the bench. Like I think Dweber still has something to offer. Like he's not at all a Springbok mold anymore, but if he can actually catch the ball and he runs at tired bodies, because that's the one thing that he does well. He always does well. He runs hard with the ball. He just needs to catch it firstly. So I don't have an issue with him running at tired bodies from the bench. Obviously, I would like someone a bit better at the moment because I feel like it's not even form anymore. It's just like he's not the best. But Andre Huguvente, absolutely class, and I would start him every game. I don't think that there should even be a debate.
Yeah, I think Andre Huguvente has some mad skill. Like he hasn't got the step that a Schalk Brits had, for example, but his offloads in a tackle. Oh my goodness, that around the body offload is just. It's something I haven't mastered as a player yet. But I don't know. It's for me. I just love watching Andre Huguvente play rugby. And when Dweber came on, the very first line out, I thought if I was the ref, I would have blown that for a skew line out. But then I remembered because the other team didn't contest, that's the only reason why you get away with it. Because if they did contest, there would have been a clear skew throw-in, and that's been Dweber's downfall for the last while as well, other than his poor hands. But yes, Andre Huguvente.
Just the final thing before we move on to the Bulls, I wanted to add to with what Brett just said there, like with his skills and stuff. If we manage to make the two hookers for South Africa, Malcolm Marx and Andre Guventer, then we literally have Malcolm Marx and Dan Sheehan 2.0 on the same team. Because that's exactly he plays a bit like Dan Sheehan.
The depth in our hookers is ridiculous. I mean, we have Jan Hendrik Wessels from the Bulls. You have Johan Grobbelaar. I mean, yeah, Ache van der Merwe, Andre Guventer, Malcolm Marx. It's like, bro, like how many more hookers do you need? And it's like our loose forwards as well.
There's still Bongi Mnambi, who's not the worst hooker in the world.
Of course, fair, exactly. So I think that's it.
We mentioned so many Bulls players now with the hookers. Moving on to Brevan's team, and Brevan, you can take us away, because we said, like, we didn't predict the Bulls to slip up or make the game look hard, but we said they had the potential to make this game look a bit tough, because obviously they are traveling. They cruised to victory. What was your thoughts on this game?
Look, I'm not going to say the first half was a cruise. I mean, it was just a good defensive effort. We really did struggle in attack. The Dragons were pressuring us at times within that first half. I think the score was only 17-3 or 10-3 at half, or 17-3 at half, no, 10-3 at half time. So it was a tough first half, and then obviously the second half, again, they made it tough in the beginning, but ultimately I think the physical game that the Bulls bring, and it can only last so long, for that Dragon side, and eventually the gates opened. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy. 31-10, they only got a consolation try, so it takes us 4 points behind Leinster. Obviously, we play Leinster in Ireland next week, which is going to be, oh my gosh, that's going to be a tough game. And that's basically for top of the log. So look, take what you got from this game. You got your bonus point. That's what they were going for, and they got it, which is great. And now it's just move forward and keep building. Make sure you keep a top 2 position going into the playoffs. So yeah, there's no negatives to really take. But yeah, glad they could absorb some pressure and manage to turn it into points as well.
The game so firstly, I think the Dragons have pretty cool kits, not gonna lie. I like the kits, but so I think that the Bulls watched our previous episode where I said they don't travel very well and that they will scrape through with a win, but it won't be such a significant win. And then Willie Leroux said, nope, hold my beer. I'm going to go show you guys that I am still one of the best fullbacks in the world. And that was a very good Willie Leroux performance. I mean, wow. That those 2 try assists, that one massive it seemed like a 40-meter pass that he gave that was flat. Holy shit, this oak he's like a fine wine, getting better.
Yeah.
So I do apologize for saying the Bulls are not a good traveling side. I did predict them to win, but it looked like they had that game handled. Like this is just another walk in the park for them.
Yeah, it's like one of those games where it felt like you're watching a typical Springbok rugby game, right? Where teams just defend and they try and match up physically, and then here by the 50 to 60 point time in the game, they just like crumble, because you can't keep defending like that for 80 minutes, and the Dragons kind of or the other team literally just like almost forget about attacking because they are literally just broken down physically. And that's literally what we saw in this game as well. Now, moving on to probably the team that we are most proud of at the moment, the Lions, doing the job. Obviously, I can't remember if Brevan did, but I predicted Connacht to win this game. I said Connacht to win this game by 4 points. I said it's going to be a close game. It wasn't close.
Only one person on this panel predicted a Lions win.
Yeah,
only one.
And the Lions doing it with 14 men as well. What a performance by the Lions. Brett, you can take us away because you predicted the victory.
Yeah, I was expecting a Guventer masterclass, and what I saw was a forward dominating Lions side without their 155 kilogram prop, and just some good, calm, composed rugby. They didn't try anything fancy. Obviously, the Ed Wolf van der Merwe little intercept was against the runner play, but everything else was good, clean, basic rugby. I mean, you see JP Smith break tackles like in his younger days. Like he broke three tackles, offload, boom, boom, set up phase, try, scored. I mean, these oaks are having fun, and you can actually see that. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this Lions performance, and I think Hendricks, finally, now that he's got a contract elsewhere, he's playing good rugby. So this is quite weird for me. Yeah, but I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I mean, again, Nohamba showing he's a good 9. Better.
Okay, Brevin has disappeared. What do you think he was going to say? Brett, you want to guess what he was about to say?
Sorry,
he's back.
I don't know what the hell happened there, man. Sorry.
Okay, Nohamba.
Yeah, well, Nohamba, better 9 than some of those Springbok guys in the camp. Just saying, again, showing that he's a good 9. And yeah, I think as well, Hendricks are playing good at 10. And I just wanted to add something about your guys' opinion on this. If I don't know if you all saw the red card to Asanati. My thing is this guy is 155 kilos, right? You know, he's tried. You can see he's tried to dip there. Now, Brett and myself will tell you the new law in club rugby, and this doesn't apply to pro at the moment. But the way the ball carrier went into that tackle, he would have been blown against, as we are no longer allowed to lead with our heads into a tackle. Now, how do you expect a 155 kilo guy to get any? He has to get so low that it will actually be a grass cut tackle if he makes the tackle. So how are these guys supposed to get past that? I mean, obviously, yes, it's head contact. I understand, but I mean, you're asking guys to make another dangerous tackle to avoid a dangerous tackle. I mean, it's a tough situation. So I feel for him. But other than that, the Lions really said, okay, cool, red card, no problem. We still got this. And like I said, they made this look way too easy. Like it shouldn't have been that easy because Connacht are a tough side at home. And they were just like, yeah, I'm sure they are. And they went and put 38 points on them. So Lions, you are in the playoff positions now, so keep it up. We really want to see you there. So.
Yeah.
Lions
what did you say, Brett?
I said the Lions with the least amount of money, 10 spots ahead of the team with the most amount of money in South Africa. So it's quite interesting to see. And they got rid of Nohamba because he wasn't performing at the Sharks, and now Nohamba's in a playoff position and the Sharks aren't.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, it feels like that Lions team is filled with chemistry and people that want to play for each other. And Brevin, we've spoken about this a couple of times. Like people should just start using their brains in terms of a dangerous tackle with intent and like a rugby collision. If you see there's nothing else the guy could have done, like he's 155 kilos trying to make a tackle, he didn't go to break a guy's neck or break his face or whatever, then it's just a water penalty, right? Nothing like a red card. Like it is absolutely cynical. Just realize we are playing rugby here. This isn't netball and stuff. This is a physical game. People sign up to get tackled. If you want to lead with your head, you're going to get tackled on your head. Your head's going to make contact somewhere. Okay.
And he was almost on his knees.
Exactly. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I want the refs to come out and talk about that. Like, I want someone to ask him, what should he have done to avoid getting blown there? That is the questions that we always want the press and stuff to ask. But let's go on to the other games, because there was a couple of fire games, a couple of close games. We actually had a massive upset, one that we all predicted not to be an upset. Starting off, just our quick thoughts, because we focused on the main stuff now. Glasgow Warriors versus Cardiff, close game. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Cardiff was in front. I think it was at halftime still. They just ticked along the whole time, and then at the end, Glasgow just blew them out of the water in the second half. But yeah, 17-13.
Remember when I predicted that and you told me my opinion is wrong? I would like you to apologize right now.
No, I said your opinion was wrong on the Stormers game.
No. I said that it's going to be the beer masterclass, and you said no. He's going to maybe have 1 or 2 kicks, and then he's going to.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but still they didn't win. So I ain't apologizing for shit.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything about that game because I got it actually spot on the way I thought it was gonna go. Brevin, you go.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad that the Glasgow Warriors didn't finish with like, a bonus point win because that helped us obviously. Yeah, I mean, congrats Glasgow, but I think the Glasgow Warriors has some, if I'm not mistaken, they still have to play the Stormers. They still have to play the Bulls away, and they still have to play the Lions. So listen, it's going to get tough for those boys. So hopefully they're prepared. But good win. Obviously, they want to stay in the top 4 because they are representing. They are the better Scottish side at the moment. I mean, if you look at Edinburgh compared to Glasgow, I think Glasgow are a bit better at this point. But that bearing in mind, Duan van der Merwe and co. still need to go back to Edinburgh. But yeah, I think good win for Glasgow and nothing much more to say.
Yeah, but like Glasgow is by far better than Edinburgh at the moment. I think they've been better than Edinburgh for the past season and a half now. I think something just clicked in that Glasgow team where they just started putting up performance after performance. But it feels like, I don't know, it's starting to feel like it's cracking up a bit. I don't know if you guys are seeing it as well. Like the performances hasn't been as good as it has been over the past season and a half that we spoke about. So we'll have to see how they end the season because, Brevin, as you just mentioned, like it's a couple of tough games for them still to come up. Moving on, also Friday night we had Ospreys versus Munster. Munster making light work, but then Ospreys scoring 2 tries in the second half. But overall, Munster, the result never really in doubt, right?
Yeah, was that 2 intercept tries from Munster in like the first 10 minutes?
I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I watched the Glasgow game.
I know I did. I'm actually asking a rhetorical question. I mean, that was. I think that Munster didn't win the match as much as they played to win the match. I think it was just they lived off errors and it worked out for them. So I don't take anything out of that game. I don't think, wow, Munster impressed me. I just think both teams were pretty shit and one capitalized more than the other.
Look, at the end of the day, Munster were always going to win that match. We didn't know by how much, but at the end of the day, look, I think Munster are in a tough situation at the moment. I think there's a lot of negativity kind of cloudy above Munster at the moment. I mean, I'm obviously losing one of their best players in Ergia Snyman to Leinster will definitely hurt them. I mean, yeah, look, Munster will always be Munster. It's one of the biggest sides in Ireland, them and Leinster. And look, I think they will be up there come towards the end, but they just haven't been that side that they were last season. I mean, the side that played the Stormers in Cape Town is so different, and I just think that team, if that team travels to Cape Town now, can get pretty scary for them. So, yeah, I think Munster will really look to kind of keep on trying to build momentum at the moment because they're going to have to do it if they want to get further in this competition.
Yeah, fair enough. So obviously we can still talk about Zebra Leinster. We're going to skip past that one. We just know it's going to be a feisty game between the Bulls and Leinster. We're not going to act like we saw Zebra versus Leinster because it was the same time as the Bulls versus Dragon game. Okay, yeah. But the one that I just want to bring up, Scarlets in stoppage time beating Benetton. None of us predicted that. We thought Benetton might just smash the Scarlets, take some of that Italian momentum going forward. And overall, they were in the lead the whole game until the 80th minute where Scarlets just went over in the corner. What was our thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I wasn't. For me, it was the same as the Munster game. I wasn't impressed with the game at all. I thought it was was terrible. I didn't enjoy any side of it. I was bored at most parts of the game, but Benetton did throw that away. They were also error-ridden for days. I couldn't believe it. That's not the Benetton that started this season, because these guys look like a zebra at this point. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just a question. I didn't watch the game, but did the Italian players start for Benetton? Were they there?
Only two.
Only two. Okay, because I know their
Yeah.
centre pairing there is very good, obviously.
Yeah.
But look, I think that's the issue with these Italian teams. I think that they lack so much depth. If they don't have their Italian players, it's kind of like, what do we do now? Because they kind of panic because they don't have the experience anymore. Obviously, they have a few overseas players that bring a bit of something. But at the end of the day, Benetton needs to be careful, because if that carries on, as we know how close it is, that could knock them out of the playoff situation if the
How many
wrong
is in the top?
results.
How many is in the playoff? 8.
Eight, yes.
Yeah, they're in 10th at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there you go. They were in the running. I mean, if I remember correctly, they were 4th at a stage, and now
Yeah.
they are 10th. So they need to be careful, because if they carry on like that, there goes your playoff dream. So
Just
got to be
to
careful.
give you guys a little breakdown, right? So the Stormers are sitting in 5th with 35 points, but only 5 points below them is the Ospreys. They are in 11th. That is how close it is for these playoff spots. That's why it's so important for the Stormers to. I know we have to play La Rochelle as well, but we can't afford to just drop away points and throw away points. Even bonus points matter at this point. Literally every single point that you can get matters, because obviously we still also have to play Leinster again. We have to play the Lions, who's also still fighting for that top position or those playoff spots. So everything is so tight. If you think about it, like we were 8th and Edinburgh was 4th. Edinburgh is sitting in 6th and we in 5th after one result. That is absolutely crazy. So everything for the Stormers went their way in terms of Connacht losing, in terms of, now I'm forgetting the Sharks beating whoever they beat again, Ulster. So everything went our way in terms of that. Benetton losing as well, but it's still, you can't all of a sudden just fall asleep on the teams and say, listen, we are safe in 5th. This is not like your usual tournament,
but
as previously.
Even with the Bulls, right? We only 10 points in front of the Stormers. Let's say it goes terribly wrong against Leinster. That puts you maybe 5 points behind us. Then we still have to play URC champs in Munster. We've got to play Glasgow. We've got to play Benetton. These are sides that can cause upsets. Not even the Bulls are safe in 2nd place, and I'll admit that.
The Bulls, Benetton's the Bulls bogey team.
So yeah, it's. We got to be careful. Everyone has to be careful here, because it is so tight. So
yeah, and with all these teams like on the same amount of points, like there's 3 teams stuck on 34 points. There's 2 teams stuck on 33 points, right? And that makes up from 6th till 10th, right? So even your points difference comes into it, and that's where the Lions has been absolutely brilliant. Have you guys seen their points difference? Yeah. It is the 4th best in the entire league. It's better than the Stormers. Like above the Lions are Ulster. Their points difference 20. Above them is Edinburgh with a minus 11 points difference. Below the Lions, it's -4, -11, 11. The Lions points difference 92. That is ridiculous. That is a great point difference for them.
It helps when you thump the Sharks, so that helps.
Yeah, well, everyone has to play the Sharks, so everyone can feed off that.
This is just a joke.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of it. Absolutely brilliant. Always great to have the boys up here talking about URC, about the teams that we love and adore. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. I know I didn't mention this at the start of the video, but we appreciate and love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for always being here, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.